Hi guys, how you doing? I know it's been a long time since I've done an upload, but just this week I've been watching this weather system high up in the altitude, and I thought, being it's Sunday and I've got nothing better to do, I thought I'd share just a few thoughts with you guys. So we're looking at this, tricyclic motion of weather high up in the altitude. If we just move the map, you'll see where we are with regards to the map, and you can see that the seems to be increased jet formation in between these two cyclic patterns here that we've got, and at the moment it's pushing a low pressure towards the north of the United Kingdom right now, and I'll show you that a little bit more in detail with regards to how that is affecting the seas with relationship to the waves or the height of waves in that low pressure system. But what we've got is what some possibly would describe here as a perfect storm. We've got over the northern hemisphere this cyclic pattern, which is generating very cool air and funneling it into a mix of the lower cyclical pattern, which is bringing in air off the Mediterranean, which will be warmer. Let's just have a look. We can see down here on the right hand column the speed at which it's doing it. So if we just take a few reference points as to how that speed's being produced there, we can see we're at 197 kilometers at the beginning of, or the entrance of the jet, where the cold from the north and the warm air from the south are mixing, and as it goes through the compressed chamber, if you want, in this system, we can see that the the speed at which it compresses through the chamber, if you want to call it that, we can see that the speed actually increases as it goes along there. So it's showing us that the mixing of the cool and the hot air are actually producing, like a thrust of wind, where it's being accelerated as it compresses through the the two cyclical chambers, if you want to call it that. It's just a description, guys, but we can see that the wind speed increases, and then as it comes out, if you want to call it the nozzle of these two mixed jet streams, we can see it starts to go slower again. We can just take random speed checks all round there. So we're at 238 kilometers an hour, 259 kilometers an hour. So we can take speed samples all around these two cyclical events. Like I say, this is a tricyclical event of weather, and I've noticed that the wind speed in the third one here is increasing as the days have been going on. The other thing I noted is that there's very relatively little speed at the centres of these like tornado patterns that we're seeing. Now remember, again, I did say that this was very high up in the atmosphere. It isn't low, and if we was to creep down the millibars in pressure, we would see that was the case. But as you can see here, the wind speed inside these areas are very slow, considering when we take a sample of the outside. So we're at 1 kilometre in that one, or we was in the centre. You can just find that. Yeah, just the way it goes, isn't it, when you're trying to do it? We was at 1. Yeah, 2 kilometres is good enough to demonstrate that there's not a lot of movement in the centres. 0 kilometres in the centre of that one, and if we just go to the third cyclical event, we can see 5, compared to the outsides, where we can see a lot more going on. Now, the other thing to note is that if we go on to temperature and check the temperature of those eyes, we can see that they're relatively cool in the centre as well, compared to the outsides. And the other thing, we can see that as the warm and the cold air mix at the beginning of the jet, it's moderately, I know it's saying minus 29, but don't forget we're high up in the atmosphere. We can see that these temperatures start to increase as we go through the funnel of where the cold air and the warm air mix. So we're at minus 37 there, and we can just take a few various readings or samples from around these cyclical events. So unusual that it's warmer at the beginning of the jet, and I'm saying that is probably because it's proof that there is hot air coming off the equatorial or Mediterranean region and being funneled into this, and it's not until it starts to pick up speed that it actually loses decreases in its temperature as it's going through there. So there's a couple of things to note. Not only is it getting faster as it goes through these through that chamber, but it's also getting cooler. But let's go on to the millibars so we can see where we are then with regards to the HPA, and we can see how high we are up in the atmosphere, because we're at 10 HPA, and the system would change the lower we go down, or sorry, if we start to increase the HPA, we get eventually to the surface and we don't see what's going on in the high altitude. And I'll just put the surface on so you can see the two different pictures that you get. So you can see the United Kingdom here, and we can see this weather moving from left to right over there. What was the other thing I wanted to just show you? Yeah, of course, the what the low pressure is doing in terms on the oceans. Right, so again, I think it's no coincidence that we see that mixing of the inner two, where the cold and the hot are coming together and being blasted through that area, that we get this low pressure reading, and we can see what effect that is having on the surface of the sea at least. And we can see down here the height in waves at the moment is 10.6 meters, and you wouldn't want to be in a boat whilst that's concerned. Again, 10:29, and we can see around the coast of Ireland that there are some choppy seas around there. And I've been watching this over the last week or so. There is something else that I was watching which I'll just show you, but I'm just showing you the height in seas at the moment around the coast of England. It's quite calm relatively in the Solent region, as we can see, but it has been a lot calmer a few days ago with regards to that. So you can see 1.8 meters, nearly 2 meters around the south coast or the Channel region of the UK. So my point is here is that we can see something is creating this low pressure high up in the atmosphere. I don't think it's that it's a coincidence that where this low pressure is right now, that has nothing to do with the the mixing of those two hot and cold jet streams. I think it is all linked. The other thing to note is that this is relatively the only place on the planet which is showing such low pressure. We had a little bit there towards the Antarctic region, but as you can see, as we go around the globe over into the Pacific, there is a little there which is showing 9 meters, nowhere near as concentrated as what there is over around the UK at the moment. That's the point of just going through this. So as you can see, a very large, probably 2,000 square miles or more of low pressure. And I was just fantasizing that, could you imagine if these waves increase right down into the Solent, round by the Channel, and push themselves up through the Thames, because we know that London sits just about a metre above sea level, and they are expecting, due to the flood defences that they've built on the Thames estuary, at some point a super wave, and we don't know whether this could be something that could cause a super wave. I would love it to happen, because I could think of nothing better than seeing at a time that we all are at the moment, London going underwater, and taking with it the City of London, the banking capital of the world, the royal family, the House of Lords, and all them MPs. I mean, I could think of nothing better to happen than a super tidal wave to go up there and destroy all that. But there you go, guys. I thought I'd share a few thoughts with you, being I had nothing better to do, and you know, I might do a few more uploads, all depends. But as always, I suppose, keep safe and bye for now.